WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
I can't believe I'm putting my voice to this.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Thank you for your irrelevant opinion.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
The first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say. I'm a broadcast journalist. I have a right to my opinion.
Oh, son of a...
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even at commentary.
And there's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you alongside Lucas the Intern.
How you doing?
And Nick Cataldi turning the dials, cheering for himself, pushing the buttons, turning dials, keeping us on the air, doing what he does. Where to start? Well, where else to start other than...
The beginning.
We're off to that kind of start, aren't we? Let's go ahead and, let's start with Hell in a Cell from this past Sunday, the WWE pay-per-view that, as far as predictions go, I have to say we actually did a heck of a lot better. In this case, a hell of a lot better.
Both
since it is Hell in a Cell. Well, 5-1 for a grand total of 6 of the 7 advertised matches. One of them got pulled. We'll talk about that real quick. Curtis Axel was pulled from the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view due to an injury. It was announced earlier on Sunday. I'd put it up as soon as I'd found out on the WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly Facebook fan page that Intercontinental Champion Curtis Axel unable to work the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view due to an injury to both hips. I think they believe a hip flexor, but nothing has been officially released. The timetable for his return has not been established. Go ahead and let the speculation of a possible Intercontinental title tournament commence if Axel is out for a long period of time, but I guess they're taking the wait-and-see approach, kind of like with Michael Vick's hamstring in Eagles football, for example. So that being said, the other matches, well, it's kind of a substitute for the Axel against Langston match. You had Damian Sandow beating Kofi Kingston. Nothing really exciting, but it was just kind of thrown last minute. The match of the night, Cody Rhodes and Goldust against the Usos and the Shield for the tag titles.
They ran that entire... That was an amazing... They said online also, I think it was... I forget which website, but the reviews said that it was... that was like possibly the best match of the entire night, was the triple threat tag team match.
Yeah, and as a fan, longtime fan of tag team wrestling, that was one of the best tag matches I've seen in a long time. So that's certainly a good thing. Of course, you've got, Big E Langston. He ended up having a match. He ended up facing WWE U.S. Champion Dean Ambrose and beat him by countout in 8 minutes and 43 seconds. It was there. It was a thing. It helped get Big E Langston over a little bit. In between, there was some filler. First, The Miz calling out Bray Wyatt after getting beat up by the Wyatt family a little while back. Rowan and Harper, they attacked Miz after the lights went out, and making the save, none other than Kane, who has been gone since quite a while, to say the least. So Kane making his return, clearing out the Wyatt family, only to then chokeslam The Miz. So we'll see where things go with that. And in another filler match, Fandango and Summer Rae beating the Great Khali and Natalya. That was the point where I had posted, we paid $50 for this.
Yeah,
really?
She really didn't have, when she was yelling at Khali before, oh, sorry.
You're good.
Monday Night Raw, I was thinking. Her debut match on Monday Night Raw, when she was where before Natalya beat her, she beat Summer Rae, by the way. Just gradually throw that in there. Literally, her acting was terrible. When she was Khali hit Fandango, and she's out of the ring like a Dixie Carter moment. What are you doing? The worst acting I've ever seen.
These things develop with time, or at least you hope they will. Maybe Vince is hoping they will. Who knows? All right, let's get to the matches that were actually advertised and they went through on. CM Punk beating Ryback and Paul Heyman in the handicap Hell in a Cell match, and then beating the living daylights out of Heyman on top of the cell with the kendo stick, following up by a GTS on top of the cell. A nice moment, but similar to what we saw at Night of Champions as far as the beatdown. So I don't know how much more you could expect from that without going Mick Foley on him. And I don't think that was going to happen. Los Matadores, they defeated the Real Americans. No real shock there. John Cena, your new World Heavyweight Champion, beating Alberto Del Rio.
The champ is here! Yeah.
He most certainly is, and I think that's to the disgust of quite a few people.
Welcome back to SmackDown, Cena. It's been a while.
It certainly has. I'm sure Extreme Kyle down in South Philly, he's throwing things just at the mere mention of it. AJ Lee, I don't even want to know what you're throwing at the mention of her name.
Defeated Brie Bella in a submission. You have a very twisted mind.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And finally, Randy Orton.
Wait.
Against Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship, defending, Bands defending, I guess, 70 days into the reign. And I got to hand it to you. You certainly pulled this off. Let's go back to last week, followed by footage right from Hell in a Cell.
Previously.
Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, Hell in a Cell for the abeyant WWE Championship. Shawn Michaels, guest referee.
I got a bad feeling about this. I feel like what's going to happen is that Michaels is going to betray somebody. I feel like he's either going to betray Bryan.
Who wins the title? That's the question.
Orton wins the title.
There we go.
Super kicks Bryan, and Orton.
I agree. Orton wins the title. I think Orton wins the title as well.
WWE champion and the face of this company. That's what just happened.
And apparently Lucas is now the prognosticator. That's apparently what also happened. Good work by you. Yeah. I got to give credit where credit's due. I know I give you a lot of heat on this show, and you seem to take it well.
And I just get to throw it back in your face. I really do. It's really fun.
You've actually done a good job of it. I have to give you credit for that, too. You're holding your own.
You know, I'm working on being a wrestler, so if it means taking down a heel in the studio, then, you know.
If we come back from break and one of us isn't here, I think you'll know why.
I hope you don't think it's going to be you.
I'm just throwing it out there. That's what I do as a broadcast journalist.
Of course you are.
That's exactly what I do. Well, following the super kick, there were a lot of questions left towards Shawn Michaels. Why he hit Daniel Bryan with Sweet Chin Music, being the guest referee in the Hell in a Cell match. And he addressed those like a man the next night on Monday Night Raw.
Now I know I owe everybody an explanation for my actions last night. But more importantly, I owe Daniel Bryan an explanation. So Daniel, if you'll give me the opportunity, I'd like you to come out here and look at me face to face so I can explain my actions. Look, I know you're not happy about what happened last night. And you have to understand, I didn't intend for that to happen. The proof is in the pudding, okay? I called that match right down the middle. And then all hell broke loose, all right? Then I saw what you did in Triple H, and I know you're not going to understand this, and I know they're not going to understand. And he is my best friend. I know you don't like him, I know they don't like him, but I don't care. Triple H is my best friend, and that is never, ever going to change. Our friendship will always supersede everything that goes on in this line of work, period. In my deepest, darkest hours, he was there for me. When everybody in my life turned their back on me, he was there for me. And last night, he needed me to be there for him, and I was. Now, I'm not asking you to be okay with that or to even understand that. I'm just asking you to just accept my apology. Shake my hand. Look, over 10 years ago, I taught you the basics, okay? I gave you a great foundation, but you built on it. You did unbelievably well. You took it farther than I ever possibly could have imagined, okay? But consider this. Last night, I took you to finishing school. I taught you the final lesson, your most valuable lesson. This is the WWE. You want to make it here? You learn this. Here, in this snake pit, you don't trust anybody. Not me, not that soon-to-be wife of yours, no one. Now, I'm giving you the chance. I am coming out here, humbling myself and being gracious enough to apologize to you. The least you could do is show me the respect I've earned and shake my hand. Let me tell you something, you self-righteous little puke. For 7 months, I've been listening to people call you a B-plus player, and the whole time I have stuck up for you saying, no, he's an A-plus player. You want to know something? I quite honestly don't know. And once more, I don't care. What I do know is this. I am an A-plus player. I always have been, and I always will be. For the love of God, I am Shawn Michaels. I'm giving you the chance on worldwide TV to shake my hand. Now do it.
Wait a minute. Daniel Bryan's got Michaels caught. That is unbelievably disrespectful. That is a Hall of Famer, Shawn Michaels, the kid who stuck out his hand out of respect and friendship. This is disgraceful. This is an embarrassment to the sports entertainment business. The yes lock locked into Shawn Michaels, who's tapping here. Michaels is tapping to the yes lock. Daniel Bryan can do serious damage to the Hall of Famer. And now some of the most disgraceful things I've ever seen in the history of this business. Daniel Bryan should be ashamed of himself.
Is it more disgraceful than what happened to Daniel Bryan last night?
Daniel Bryan finally lost his cool. Pathetic. He kept it in for months and months, and he finally snapped tonight. That is horrible.
And the crowd chanting, "You tapped out, you tapped out." When did that become a thing, anyway?
I think it was like Wade Barrett, but I'm not sure. Like when the Nexus, and I'm not sure.
Was it that long? I thought it was more recent than that.
No, it was definitely the first time I remember hearing it. I'm not sure. Maybe Walt's going to clarify it with us when he calls in. Yeah, it's a shout.
Why are you poking the bear?
I'm not poking the bear. I'm just having a little fun. I understand the guy's trying to further my knowledge in wrestling. I feel like because when, I think, wasn't it SummerSlam or, yeah, I think it was SummerSlam when John Cena had Team WWE versus Team Nexus. Mm-hmm. And he had Barrett in the STFU and Barrett
I thought he changed it over and they took the U off by that point, but either way,
I could care less. I still call it the FU sometimes. It's like saying...
yeah.
It's like saying, with Paterno, like, they may have taken it out of the record books, but I still feel like he still won the game and stuff like that sort of thing. But, like, anyway, it was when Barrett tapped out, and it was like the next night on Raw, he was making fun of the Nexus, and everybody was like, when Barrett started talking, you tapped out, you know, that whole thing.
That is some good work by you. You're just swinging for the fences, like between last week and this week. You're just knocking them out of the park.
Well, what can I say? I want to make it in this world.
I guess that's one way of doing it. All right, one way that we're going to go ahead and make it we're going to take care of some business because that's what pays the bills and keeps this show going. So we're going to do that. We'll come back. We'll get to the phones. I know that Walt has been waiting patiently. I can only imagine what he has to say. Also, Ed the Showstopper, he's on as well. We got room for you, Facebook feedback, and a whole bunch more. Plus, we got to talk a little ECPW tonight over at the YMCA. We'll definitely talk about that. I'm sure. Well, maybe we'll hear from Nubius. I don't know. He's getting ready for his big match against Tony Hightower tonight.
This is going to be. I feel because I'm excited to go to another wrestling show. This is a very fun experience. I implore that anyone else that's listening, if you're not going already, if you can make the time, local listeners, because I know some people,
Yeah, I don't think Dan from Chicago.
Yeah, or Harry Barnett's going to just. Yeah, but I'm saying, if you can make the time, then go and see this. It's really worth it because it's just a very fun experience for indie wrestling events.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about it coming up on the other side. Still a bunch to do. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Who better to hype you than you, right?
I'm a celebrity now.
I think your intern's wrestling with disaster.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon Derry.
It's like Robot Chicken. We get canceled at the end of every episode.
Being renewed for the 216th time, this is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you. We're talking all kinds of stuff. WWE. We'll get into some TNA as well, since I know we kind of skimmed over Bound for Glory, because the less we talked about it, the better. We were awful with our picks. We mentioned it briefly last week.
Yeah.
I'll also, since I know we had them in studio, we'll give you a Kickstarter update as far as the project Wrestling with Disaster is concerned. And I know we did a lot of shilling to try to get some help with that, and I did say I was going to pull out some shekels and put them into the project, and I definitely did that. Hopefully you can do the same. Give you more of an update on that a little bit later in the hour. For now, let's go ahead and get to the phones in a segment that is always interesting. We'll leave it at that. Let's get Walt on the line. Walt, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Hold on a second, Walt. Before you say anything, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, if you humor me, I'll humor you in the fact that if you're gonna give me a question, make sure it does not involve where it took place, what the date was, and I would also like it to be Attitude Era towards now, because I know things, but I don't know a lot of things like you.
Wow, laying down the gauntlet early here. All right.
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm gonna bring you up, Lucas. I'm not doing an SAT testing like I was last Saturday, so I gave you a whole week off.
Good, because I didn't sign up for it this week at the school, so that's a plus.
Yes, it is. All right, well, let's do the Lucas Knows Things segment. Let's bring that through. Okay, this is a simple question, and you're going to be able to get this pretty quickly. All right, World Wrestling Tag Team info. Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase Jr. won the belts on 8/4/09 in our great state, Knoxville, Tennessee. By 8/11/09, they lost the belts. Now, your question, real quick, which mid-Atlantic town did they two lose the belts in?
Obviously, yeah, I was going to say, I guess you kind of took the parameters and just said, forget that, I'm gonna do what I want.
Could you maybe give me another question, or how about you sort of modify it?
Virginia. It's in Virginia. It's real quick. You can get this.
Okay,
Virginia.
Give me a question that doesn't involve locations or dates when it comes to I can probably tell you who they lost the titles to, or who was in the tag team, or who was in the match.
The answer would be Richmond, Virginia, very quickly there. Okay, Here's one for Nick, the nighttime driver. Bruno Sammartino's first retirement match for the WWF was in 1981. Name the arena and who Bruno took on.
Wilt Chamberlain and Croydon. I don't know.
You're close. It was Meadowlands. It was George the Animal Steele before. Bruno actually went to Japan to continue wrestling.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know. I really didn't know that one.
That was an easy one.
All right.
I was close,
just give me one more question.
I was close.
Okay. No, this is for Ron. This is for Ron now. Which legendary WWF manager passed away in October 2009?
I can answer that, actually. I believe it was Captain Lou Albano.
You are correct. Ding, ding, ding. You win.
Now, that one I would have got.
Yeah, in fact, we had a nice little tribute to him here on the show, including playing a little segment of his from the old Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which was a favorite of mine as a kid.
Absolutely. Now I got one to clear up Steve from Bristol. He asked me, Ric Flair, who won the WWE Intercontinental Championship belt from? And he said, who was blonde? And I found out it was Carlito in 2005. So I'm believing that was the correct answer. And then he lost to Shelton Benjamin in 2006, the actual belt.
I was going to say, was Shelton blonde at that point? I can't remember if he had the bleach hair going or not during the gold standard years.
Yeah. And I think it's time for Steve down there to hang out at the Cabana with Carlito. I want to get to the shirts you were talking about. Dixie Carter talking about her shirt. You should have one for Ron.
I have no desire to go to Dixieland.
That's fair enough.
The CW show nor the wrestling show.
Yeah, there's no good place I can take that. How's your audition process going for taking over for Trebek once he retires from Jeopardy? Just curious.
I'm about 20 years away, so got to give me a couple more days there.
20 years away?
Yeah, about 20
By that
years.
point, you'll be around his age at the retirement session.
Yeah, then I can qualify finally.
Oh, then you can qualify? Is that how it works?
Yep, I think I can.
I was going to say, Gene Rayburn lost that fight back in the late 80s. I don't know if you're going to have as much success with it.
Probably not. I want to get to one other topic real quick. We're going to talk Eagles real fast. My strategy, like I gave Merle Reese, first and third quarter tomorrow against Oakland, you go with quarterback A. Second and fourth, you go with quarterback B. And you mix Oakland up and you win the game. What do you think?
So you're as most... Well, I was going to say, most teams, they tend to rotate offensive and defensive lines as far as personnel. You're thinking rotating quarterbacks based on the downs?
Yes, quarter to quarter. First and third goes with quarterback
quarter
A.
to quarter, okay.
Yeah, and second quarter and fourth quarter, quarterback B. And that way, you flip the whole offense against Oakland, and they won't know what happens.
So, yeah, except they can't seem to run one offense, let alone two.
Plus the fact that their quarterback keeps pulling a hamstring.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to run arena football style offense, and I think the arena football put a cease and desist at them, I believe. So that's why they're not running it right now.
I don't think it's necessarily that. There's a lot of things, and believe me, there are plenty of different shows on this particular station which talk football and have much more expertise than I do. I watch the game, so that doesn't mean that I necessarily know everything about them.
That's true. You're going to have a round table with Merle Reese to figure this one out.
Well, I was going to say, he's in Cali now for the Oakland game tomorrow, so I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah, that's the good thing. Hey, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you guys
You
soon.
too, Walt.
All right. Thank you. Know-It-All Walt. Never know what's going to happen.
You really just give a George Bush laugh?
I have no idea. All right. Let's keep things going. Let's go ahead and get Ed the Showstopper. Ed, what's going on?
Not too much. We have a doubleheader coming on November 16th at the OTW Arena with 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. bell time.
WBC.
All right, what you got?
Hello?
Hello? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh.
Ed's your showstopper.
All right, yeah, we got you here, Ed. I don't know what we got going on.
No?
Yep, we got you. We'll cross up with the lines, that's all.
Let me call back then.
No, we got you here. You're good.
Sorry about that. And On Point Wrestling at the OTW Arena on the 23rd with Bulldozer and Kingston. That's about it.
Alrighty, yeah. On Point. I was gonna say, who did I talk to not too long ago who was promoting the heck out of On Point Wrestling? Matt Tremont. That's who it was. Yeah, I know he does some stuff with On Point as well as CZW. Great guy. I'll have to get him here on the program here at some point. Yeah, definitely should be a lot of fun. Got anything else for us, Ed?
Next.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much for the call. Ed the Showstopper. giving us the look at the local scene. And one thing I thought he was going to mention, but apparently he opted not to. The ECPW, East Coast Professional Wrestling, the UWF Pro Wrestling. Oh, that's going on tonight. That's going to be at the Lower Bucks YMCA at 601 South Oxford Valley Road over in Fairless Hills. 7:30 bell time tonight. And, yeah, it should be a good time. $20 for front row seats, general admission, $15. And if you have a valid YMCA membership, you get $5 off. Not too bad. The main event, the Chain Gang, of course, featuring Madman Moose Moretti against Balls Mahoney and Pitbull Gary Wolf. Wonder if he'll be able to answer some questions regarding the Wrestling with Disaster. Should be interesting. Also, Crazy Ivan, who I know we saw at the New Moon Rising show a couple of months ago.
Had a prison guard with him, too.
Yeah, well, he's taking on Mr. Thursday Night. Should be interesting considering it's a Saturday night. And then Nubius Black, as we had mentioned, he's taking on Tony Hightower. Plus, there's a 15-man over-the-top rope battle royal. Pretty boy Larry Sharp of the Monster Factory, he's going to be there. Corey Castle, who was in studio last week, you can meet him in person down there. East LA is going to be there. Just Incredible, a whole bunch, and should be a lot of fun. 601 South Oxford Valley Road in Fairless Hills. That is tonight. 7:30 is your bell time. Again, $20 for front row seats, general admission, $15. All right, let's talk a little quick TNA here. As AJ Styles winning the championship belt, he decided to kind of take it walking, kind of like CM Punk did back in the summer of 2011, and. Well, because of that, there's now a tournament announced for a new champion, and 7 of those 8 competitors were determined, and Dixie Carter announcing that the last would be determined in a gauntlet-style match, which is essentially a Royal Rumble, a high-impact gauntlet, but since Royal Rumble's trademarked, they had to come up with a different name for it, so that's what they went with. And here is the conclusion of that match.
Carter told AJ, just keep that title. I don't care. We don't need you on the title. It's nuts.
Magnus with the clothesline for Daniels. Sting gonna go Stinger splash in the corner on Kazarian. Whoa! Powerful clothesline eliminates Daniels.
Christopher Daniels has been eliminated.
With the Sting with this. Oh no!
Kazarian and Sting have been eliminated. Your winner, Magnus.
He just eliminated his own main event Mafia teammate in Sting.
Hey, I gotta tell you, we saw a little attitude at Bound for Glory from Magnus towards Sting after he beat Sting and blew him off at the end of that match. Then the following week, last week,
right,
we saw a little respect from Magnus towards Sting. And now, this week, on Halloween, in a massive match with massive opportunity, we see Magnus eliminate Sting. Holy cow, Mike.
And yes, Magnus winning the Impact Gauntlet match, or I keep wanting to call it a Royal Rumble just out of instinct, because that's essentially what it was. Every 2 minutes, a new person coming in. So here's your bracket set for the TNA title tournament. You've got Jeff Hardy against Chris Sabin. That's your one of your first round matches. Bobby Roode against James Storm. A battle of the former Beer Money tag team members, and the winner of that faces the winner of the Hardy-Sabin match. And then in the bottom half of the bracket, you've got Magnus against Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle against Austin Aries, and the winner of Angle and Aries will take on the winner of Magnus and Samoa Joe, those both being the semifinals. Here's the other kicker, as if TNA couldn't complicate it even more. Each match will have a stipulation determined by the Wheel of Dixie. Essentially a roulette wheel, kind of like the old spin the wheel, make the deal from back in WCW about 20 years ago or so. And after looking very closely at the TV to try to read what all the stipulations were, here's what they all are. There's Full Metal Mayhem, which actually is going to be the stipulation determined for the Jeff Hardy and Chris Sabin match that'll be this coming Thursday on Impact. But also on there, you've got a ladder match, submission, a bull rope match. Those are always fun. Falls Count Anywhere, Last Man Standing, a tuxedo match, which just gives me the shudders in usual You're looking at me, Lucas, with confused...
Chippendales, are we talking tuxedo or like...
Okay, quick history lesson on that. See, this is where you get to learn things. All right, what a tuxedo match is. That's usually, back in the day, it was done when managers were feuding with each other. One that jumps out to mind back in the late 80s was, it was Paulie Dangerously and Jim Cornette, I believe, in the NWA, WCW days. And then more recently in... I want to say the mid-'90s, you had a feud between Howard Finkel and Harvey Whippleman that was based in a series of tuxedo matches.
I'm sorry. That's too funny to imagine. Howard Finkel?
Yeah.
The Fink?
The Fink. And, well, basically, yeah, I guess we can talk about it on the show here. We're all adults for the most part, even the kids here. You're familiar with back when WWE would have bra and panties matches? It's essentially that, but the male equivalent. So the goal was to basically rip the tuxedo off of your opponent.
So it's like bra and panties matches were the ones where you ripped them off so they showed
their clothes off. Yeah, until they're you're ripping the tuxedo off until they're down to their skivvies. That's essentially what a tuxedo match is.
And these guys weren't exactly teenagers, so they'd be wearing briefs, weren't they?
I didn't exactly have that set into memory. In fact, with a couple of those guys, I'm trying to have it etched out of my brain. I'm sorry. Do you want to know whether what Paul Heyman's wearing under? No, I don't think you do.
No,
exactly. That's why in general tuxedo matches are not necessarily a good idea. And but in this case, it's wrestlers. You're used to seeing them in trunks anyway, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of head-scratchingly weird.
Yeah, but they're in very good condition for the most part, aside from the heavyweights, and the fact that I don't want to see a manager that's almost
that was I guess the novelty of it.
The shuddering relapse of Bobby the Brain Heenan in the toga.
Yes, from WrestleMania 9. Yeah, the less we think of it, we're taking this into a very dark direction.
Yeah, let's stop.
Let's move on here. Other items on the Wheel of Dixie. You've got a Dixieland match, which I'm sure they have to bring it up at some point just so they can explain what in the blue hell a Dixieland match is, because even I have no idea. And finally, a tables match, and almost in a nod to back in the early 90s WCW, they have a coal miner's glove match. Yeah, apparently it's this very thick, heavy glove that could be used as a weapon. That was how it was going. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes as the weeks go along. I don't know where the end game is to the title. Are they going to lead up to the Turning Point pay-per-view themed Impact coming up in a couple weeks on the 21st? Or are they going to try to stretch it out to Genesis in January? Is there still going to be a TNA when January rolls around in time for Genesis? These are the questions. And we'll talk a little bit about the TNA sale allegations coming up on the other side, plus some other news and notes. And a lot of them are TNA related. Some online roster adjustments, a date change for here in Philadelphia as far as a live event, and also some WWE news as well.
Raw.
Most of it financial.
Yeah, what about Raw?
And we'll talk Raw as well. We'll take care of that coming up. Plus,
Intern's
we've got
Insight.
Yes, the Intern's Insight. We'll definitely get that in. Although, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. We'll have to come up with a new name for it because, some other alliteration with prognosticator. We'll pontificate and prognosticate here on Pro
Those are some big words for a Canadian.
Family show, family radio station.
Those are some pretty big words for a Canadian.
Yeah, what kind of talk is that?
Settle down, hoser.
Oh, come
Let's
on.
go ahead and take care.
Who's Line reference.
A what? Oh, who's line?
Yeah, Colin and Ryan from...
Well, it's not your line; it's my show.
Well, that dirty mouth of yours.
Things are getting out of hand here. Let's go ahead.
Nick's trying to be joining the conversation. That's adorable.
No, Nick's not trying to. Nick did. See, that's where you're wrong. Okay.
Should we
now go ahead, Fearon.
Yeah, thank you. Can I have my show back now?
Yeah.
He's thinking about it, possibly even pontificating. Okay,
there you go again.
I know those $5 words. I'm sure he's used that a time or two as well.
I've never heard him use such a language. Filthy language.
Of course.
Anyway.
Those $5 words. All right, we're going to go ahead and take care of some business and get a dictionary for Nick here, and we'll come back. We'll talk to John from Northeast Philly on the other side.
Dick
and No, Nick.
Oh,
Dictionary.
Dictionary.
Yes.
Oh, I know him. Yeah, Dictionary. I know him. Yeah.
Cataldi's being a Richard today, that's for sure.
Oh, thank you very much.
Let's go ahead and take care of some business. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, November 2. On this date in 1998, WWF Monday Night Raw aired live from Houston, Texas. In the main event, the Headbangers fought D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry to a no contest in a tag team match. On this date in 1998, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Sunrise, Florida. In the main event, Lex Luger defeated the Giant by disqualification. On this date in 2004, WWE SmackDown was taped in St. Louis, Missouri. In the main event, Booker T and Josh Matthews defeated John Bradshaw Layfield and Orlando Jordan in a tag team match. On this date in 2009, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Worcester, Massachusetts. In the main event, Chris Jericho defeated John Cena and The Big Show in a triple threat match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, November 2. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here alongside Lucas the Intern, Nick Cataldi pushing buttons, turning dials, refraining from cheering himself, or so I thought.
No, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. Yay!
There we go. And now all is right with the world. We're cracking up. We're finally looking at the Facebook feedback. We'll get back to the phones in just a minute. Joseph chiming in.
Let me read this one.
This one's for you.
Let me read it. I feel I have the jurisdiction, please.
What? Why do you feel you have the jurisdiction?
Because he's trying to. Let me just. Please.
Who's the broadcast journalist here?
Obviously, none of us, because we're acting like two little kids fighting over our favorite toy.
Really?
Yeah, please.
Really?
Please, give me the phone, please. Thank you.
If you mess this up, I'm telling you.
I'm not going to.
You know you have to read it aloud, right?
Yes, I know. Joseph Anthony gave us a little thing. Lucas, I'm going to stump you right here on the fan page. In the year 2008 at Survivor Series, in the main event, what type of cell phone was used in the upper section to take pictures? What was the name of the popcorn brand eaten while taking said pictures? Take that, Walt. Then the preceding post was brought to you exclusively by the sarcasm. You're welcome. Well, the answer is, I believe it was a Samsung Flight version 2005, and popcorn was Orville Redenbacher.
Well played. You actually got through that without almost cracking up like a Jimmy Fallon or a Carol Burnett or something like that.
It is so hard not to laugh. That was the funniest one.
Well, see, had I read it, I wouldn't have laughed.
Oh,
that's where the broadcast journalism comes in.
Broadcast journalism. Are you sure you just didn't print out an article from or print out a little thing from the internet?
No, not this time. All right, John also chiming in. A Penn State reference, hashtag thankfully it wasn't me, and hashtag who made that reference.
Hashtag this isn't Twitter, it's Facebook.
Well, Facebook now has gotten into the hashtagging.
That is not fair.
You weren't aware of this? Come on.
No, I was aware of it. I just feel like it's bogus.
You just don't like it.
It's just bogus. It's bull.
It stinks and you don't like it.
It stinks.
Well played. Joseph also chiming in, I'm so glad Walt isn't one of those callers who tries to get himself over. Nicely done. And John, who we'll get to in a minute, of course he appreciates my Mario reference. He said, do the Fearon, which is nothing like doing the Mario, although on occasion I do swing my arms from side to side. And Doug chiming in, Fearon, more like fear off. That's original. Haven't heard that before, ever. Okay, maybe a few hundred times. Did you get your intern so you wouldn't be the worst part of the show?
Really? Really, Doug? Okay. Next time I come down to George's, I'm probably not going to buy something just to piss you off.
He said, LOL, just playing, keep up the good work. The insanity is abound. That's, yes, that is definitely a thing.
I love how he thinks working behind a desk is a lot worse than working at a radio station. Or working
all right, now you're just getting personal.
I'm joking. It's LOL just playing.
Oh, gosh. We're starting wars left and right here. What did I get myself into?
Please don't kill me, Doug. It was a joke. Don't ban me from the store.
Have you seen what Doug looks like?
Yeah, he's got the little golf cap on. sort of like he's trying to hide that he's bald. He probably isn't, but at the same time, you
just keep digging that. He's had breakfasts bigger than you. Come on now. Be nice to him. All right,
what is that? Some sort of joke in itself?
Maybe. Let's go to the phones. Let's get out of this as quickly as possible before I cause more trouble. Let's go ahead and...
we got him. There we go.
Let's get John up here. John, what's going on?
It's more like Save Us J2Y.
Save Us J2Y, yeah.
It's like...
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, okay. That's... You've been sitting on that for a good 5 years now, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I've just been waiting for the right moment to strike.
And that was the perfect one.
It's like I'm calling in an artillery strike in Battlefield 4, which is available now.
Solid video game reference there, my friend.
John is good for those.
Yes, I am.
Maybe if Walt's going to quiz me on wrestling, I can quiz him on video games just to balance it out. It's a joke. I'm not going to, because...
When did this become the GE College Bowl?
When Walt started calling.
Look at me making a reference that only Nick would get, because it's over 50 years old. I'm awful. I stink.
They had some real geniuses in that show. They were like real eggheads, man.
I get it.
No smile or nothing.
I get it. It was
You get it?
It's like a quiz bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah, back in the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, it was like for college students, I'm guessing.
I'll say they were.
Okay, it was all right. It was enough that at least for those who didn't get it, they could play along. They could play the home game. Okay, maybe not.
If you could answer the question.
Yeah.
I mean, it made...
Do we even have
it made Jeopardy look like like they were stupid. I mean, no, GE College Bowl was like
it made Jeopardy look like the...
maybe Walter Crew.
Like elementary school.
Maybe Walter try and reinstate the GE College Bowl.
Not that Jeopardy is simple, man.
I'm
just kidding. But GE College Bowl was like real. Whew.
Okay, back to wrestling, guys.
Good.
The what College Bowl?
Oh, boy.
Okay, let's get back to wrestling.
GE College Bowl.
What was that?
General Electric. That was,
We heard you.
What?
Who am I?
We heard you.
Oh. I'm lost.
Troublemaker.
Yes.
That's the E-brake. I just pulled it. You notice?
I see what you did there.
But in any case, I was referencing WWE 2K14 all week.
Oh,
yes.
I want to get that. Especially the 30 years of WrestleMania. I actually want to do a segment on that.
The showcase of the Immortals in digital format. It's really, really good. I'm not going to get too much into it because I know we're up against time here. I'll put it all on the Facebook wall. And once Gamefly decides to send it to me, I've had it on my queue for over a week. But a good friend of mine let me play it, and, he shall forever remain nameless because I'm the famous one.
Gotcha.
But overall, it has some of last year's issues with endless counters and all that, but the presentation of the game is just stellar. I feel like I was actually watching a WWE program. It felt like I was watching a WWE program.
I have a question.
So you weren't entertained, is what you're saying?
Well, I was entertained, but when I had my Xbox on, I was entertained.
I have a question, actually, about that game, because I saw how you could do, you relive the WrestleMania matches, and they were pulling off moves from the actual match. How do they do that? Is it like a button sequence, or...
Yeah. The way it works is it's not the actual word, but I'll just use it as an example. It's more like a highlight reel. You get rewards based off of actually pulling off signature moments from the matches of WrestleMania. Now, keep in mind that 30 hasn't happened yet, so 30 will be added to the 30 years of WrestleMania via DLC later on.
Downloadable content.
Obviously, it's several months after.
Interesting.
Some kind of Shawn Michaels and
that should be
Daniel Bryan match.
That should be like maybe if you pre-ordered the game, you get that 30 years of WrestleMania DLC.
Well, here's
they have a season pass, so I'm assuming it's kind of like all the games are doing. So I'm assuming the season pass will get you the 30 years of WrestleMania update for free.
Yeah.
Okay, being a, I guess, semi-retired gamer, I'm going to throw this out there. What you're describing as far as the highlight reel thing, is that similar to what they did in WWE 13 as far as the progression of the Attitude Era and hitting certain signature moments?
Yeah,
to unlock other things?
It alters the story depending on how you do it. Now, you're not required to pull off the moves. It depends. There's optional moves that you don't have to do, but there are mandatory ones. Like, for example, there was a match in the Attitude Era where you have to put somebody through a table and get a disqualification. Now, if you win by pinfall submission, obviously you failed the objective. So there are a little bit of both.
Yeah, there was the regular objectives to advance the storyline, and then there were the historical objectives. I think
because what I thought though, when it came to the moments, what I would have thought it's like Legends of WrestleMania when they had when you had to do the finishing move, you had to pull off a certain sequence of buttons, like press A, B, stuff like that. But I also wanted to know, are the controls the same? Like, did 2K14 really? Did they change anything around that I'd have to know about?
The controls stay the same. You get special moves based on how much you fill up the special meter, much like the previous game.
Yeah.
There's a counter system in play that does require you to press buttons at particular moments to pull off counters and execute moves properly. Other than that, the core mechanics of the game stayed the same, but the visual presentation and the overall presentation is where you get the performance boost. However, once again, the voice commentary is just... They record the same lines for specific moves, so you hear the same things over and over. It's kind of like Michael Cole plugging a certain app aimlessly and selflessly and obnoxiously.
And thinking that we're not technologically advanced.
Yes. I'm not going to hashtag anything because that's more or less, more impactful with a keyboard.
Yes.
Well played.
Also, it's like... I wanted to know if, like you said, with the highlight reel and the objectives, is that like you unlock certain things? Like you unlock, I know with WWE 2K, I know not. It was like SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. It was like you could unlock his John Cena's like other ring attire and stuff like that. Like his other. There's tons of unlockables. There's a lot of unlockables, whether it's historic or current guys. There's a lot going on, and it's one of those games that you're going to want to play. Repeatedly to unlock all of it. If you're a true WWE fan and all that stuff, there's a lot going on. It's definitely, if you're a fan, you got to have it. Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, no Wii U, and for now, tentatively scheduled for next-gen consoles, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. But overall, it's definitely worth the buy. Like I said, the counter system's annoying, the commentary is annoying, but overall...
So it's just like WWE.
Yes. I mean, I can't change the channel, but it's always nice if I can change the storyline. And the fans are ridiculous in it, too. Like, they'll only have signs for those two wrestlers in the ring. Like, they had no sense of being dynamic or different.
Like the guy behind me can't see? So they got rid of, like, the guy behind me can't see signs and stuff like that?
Yeah, the big billboard signs like Allen Iverson's mom would bring out.
Wow.
I got that. Thank you for the reference.
Well played. All right, we got to get rolling. Thanks so much for the call, John. All right, let me quick talk a little bit about the TNA sale allegations. TNA President Dixie Carter appearing to respond to rumors regarding the company's financial state, as well as rumors that her family is interested in selling the company. She quoted writer Erica Jong on her Twitter by saying, "Gossip is the opiate of the oppressed." Interesting. Dixie's mother and Panda Energy executive was confirmed to have issued a memo to TNA contracted talent and employees in which she labeled rumors of the company attempting to sell its ownership stake in TNA as false. That according to ProWrestling.net. But here's a conflicting report courtesy of WrestleChat.net that was actually just given to me by Justin Henry of WrestleCrap.com. Little plug out there. An exclusive that Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan confirmed to be the leading candidate to purchase TNA Wrestling. He has been involved in wrestling a little bit, at least in some minor stuff. He's always had an interest in it, always been a fan. I don't know. It's kind of one of those, I guess, believe it when you see it, but obviously a lot of conflicting reports. Also, some other TNA news real quick. TNA online roster adjustments. TNA removing Hulk Hogan and AJ Styles from their online roster page. Meanwhile, Mr. Anderson was added back onto the page. Styles' removal from the page centers around him being TNA champion without a contract, kind of like the CM Punk thing in the summer of 2011. Hogan's contract, meanwhile, has legitimately expired. Also, a date change for TNA in Philly. The December 26th TNA Impact Wrestling TV taping in Philadelphia has been changed to a live event that will now take place the next day, December 27th. It appears that starting November 21st, Impact TV tapings will happen in the Impact Zone back in Orlando, but this has yet to be confirmed. Also, some WWE news. It's been that time again for the quarterly financial report. I won't bore you with all the details, but basically July's Money in the Bank pay-per-view had 11,000 more buys than last year. SummerSlam took a huge hit. had 62,000 fewer buys than in 2012, and Night of Champions had 14,000 less buys compared to that of last year.
Now, are we talking about the pay-per-view or like the DVD or the actual pay-per-view?
The actual pay-per-view buys. The people who threw down $50 or $55 to watch the pay-per-view live on the night of the pay-per-view. More people saw Money in the Bank. The other two, not so much. SummerSlam took a huge hit.
Yeah.
And also noted, WWE Network, it's a possible go for early 2014. WWE Executive Vice President Stephanie McMahon revealing at New York City Television Week that WWE is targeting a 2014 first quarter launch of the WWE Network, and I guess that would coincide right around where WrestleMania is that kind of straddles the first and second quarters as far as all that financial stuff that I don't know a bloody thing about.
So wait, so the WWE Network, does that mean that, like, okay, so instead of SmackDown and Raw being on different channels, it's going to be on the network every single time?
Well, either that or you could possibly see replays on the network.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, I mean, that's the other issue is where does the network fall in as far as the upcoming expiration of TV contracts for Raw, SmackDown.
And, like, what about the people who own WWE Classics like me? Is that going to be WWE Network now, or does it, like... That's what I want to know.
That's an interesting question, but for, financial people who know a lot more about this stuff than I do, they're saying that WWE could score huge with renewing their TV contract. We're talking like billions of dollars.
So meaning, like, if they don't go with the network, they're going to make a lot more money.
Oh, yeah, to either renew Raw on USA or move it to another network. Same thing for SmackDown on Sci-Fi. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back next week for more insanity, hilarity, and everything else. Thanks again, Lucas the Intern, Nick Cataldi. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB.
1490 WBCB, Levittown, Peerless Hills, Trenton.